Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, well, we're digging into something pretty special. How one guy, broadcasting for, over 40 years from WMMR 93.3 FM, how he became more than just the DJ in Philadelphia. Like he was woven into the city's identity. It's rock and roll conscience, really.
It's a fascinating case. Absolutely. Longevity like that in media, it's rare. And our mission today, digging into the sources, is to figure out how. Not just who Pierre Robert was, but how he made tuning the radio feel, well, important. Listeners called it deeply human. We need to get past the praise and look at the mechanics,
Exactly. It's about the how. Because when you trace it, arriving in the early 80s, riding through all those changes in rock music, grunge, alternative, it wasn't just a gig for him. It was this decades-long commitment to a certain way of being. The big question the sources keep circling is how did he stay so relevant without, fundamentally changing who he was?
And that's the core insight, isn't it? That consistency. Plus, he wasn't stuck musically, he evolved, but anchored by this genuine belief system. It shows that kind of sustained presence. It builds a loyalty that, well, an algorithm just can't touch. Not really.
Okay, right. So let's unpack that. And where better to start than the origin story? Because you might assume Voice of Philadelphia got to be a local guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Seems logical.
But nope, the sources point elsewhere. His birth name, William Pierre Robert. He's actually a West Coast kid, born and raised in California, started his radio career out there too.
And that piece is crucial. It really sets up the whole narrative. This wasn't just taking a new job. One biography really digs into this, framing his move to Philly in the early 80s as almost a calling, a kind of spiritual thing.
A calling, yeah. Like he needed a bigger stage for what he was doing, his kind of counterculture vibe.
Exactly, and he needed the right city for it.
And how he got there. Classic rock and roll style. Packed up his life.
Oh, the van. Minerva.
Yes, Minerva. Drove this old van, Minerva, all the way across the country. It wasn't just, hopping on a plane. It felt like a pilgrimage. So he arrives in Philly with this, road-worn authenticity already baked in.
That image is so powerful. The timing, too. Early 80s, radio was getting very slick, very corporate. And here comes this traveler, this outsider, basically rejecting that whole polished format.
Right.
And Philadelphia, with its own strong, independent music roots.
Yeah.
It was ready for someone who felt real, someone who felt like one of them, even if he wasn't technically from there.
And the sources say the second he hit the airwaves at WMMR, the difference was immediate. You could feel it. One piece described it as this wave of authenticity. It wasn't a broadcasting you. It was like sharing something.
Yeah.
He didn't just spin records. He felt them. And somehow you felt it too.
That connection, that emotional link.
Yeah.
That was his thing, his superpower, you could say. And even though he was a voice, he had this unmistakable look that backed it all up.
Oh, yeah. The visuals were key. The long hair, always the tie-dye shirts.
And the peace sign sunglasses.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Totally. One source said he looked like he walked right out of a 1960s Woodstock dream and just stayed there.
He really did.
Yeah.
But the look, striking as it was, it just amplified the way he communicated, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that unscripted style, because it wasn't just winging it. It was more philosophical than that.
That's a great way to put it. The sources stress he was deliberately breaking radio rules.
Yeah.
Tight clocks, rigid playlists. Pierre just let the moment breathe. His voice had this warmth, humor, soul. You could almost hear him smiling. And the key thing, repeated over and over, is he felt like a friend talking with you, not some announcer talking to you. Big difference.
Huge difference. And that meant the show could go anywhere. Long listener calls, maybe unedited, personal stories, just riffs on life.
Yeah, total unpredictability, which is the opposite of how most commercial radio is programmed, all market tested.
Right. They said every word just came straight from him, from the heart.
And that honesty, that sort of vulnerability really shaped how he approached the music, too. Think about it staying relevant in rock from 82 through, into the 2010s. That's a massive span.
Huge. Zeppelin to Nirvana to who knows what else.
Exactly. Classic rock, grunge, alternative, modern stuff. He bridged it all. But not by chasing trends. He found the common thread, that spirit of, freedom, independence in the music.
He had this core belief, didn't he, that rock and roll wasn't just noise. It was a message of peace, freedom, and togetherness. He really elevated it. Music wasn't just sound, it was connection.
And that belief completely changed how he interviewed people. The biggest names.
Oh, the list is incredible. Springsteen, U2, The Who, Pearl Jam, Stones.
You name them. But the sources say he never treated them like untouchable gods.
Right. He saw them as, what was the term? Fellow travelers?
That's the one. fellow travelers. So the conversations were about the journey, the shared human stuff, the why behind the music, not just, album sales or tour dates.
Imagine that. Mick Jagger sits down and the chat goes deeper than the latest single. That's compelling radio. That was the Pierre difference.
Absolutely. And this commitment, it wasn't just on-air performance art. It went deeper. His work ethic.
Oh, yeah, that comes up a lot. 40 years and still prepping his own playlists meticulously.
Handwriting notes, apparently. Making sure the flow was right, always early to the studio.
That kind of dedication, it's almost unheard of now in media. It builds incredible trust with the audience.
It really does. And he had this simple quote that sort of summed it all up.
The one about making someone smile.
Yeah. If I can make one person smile today, that's enough for me. That wasn't just a line. That was seemingly his genuine mission, day in, day out, for decades.
And that mindset, that simple goal, it naturally led to this huge community impact, right?
Oh, massively. This is where he really became more than a voice on the radio. He became part of the city's fabric.
People talk about how involved he was, local causes, charity events.
Constantly. Using that huge platform, WMMR's reach, to actually mobilize people for good.
Yeah. The Thanksgiving food drive, that was a big one he championed.
Huge. But on the smaller things, too.
Yeah.
He showed up. He used his influence to, lift people up, to bring the community together.
It really proved radio could be more than just background noise or entertainment.
It could be a town square, a force for collective kindness. Someone called him the patron saint of Philly causes.
Wow. Patron saint, that says a lot.
It does. And the city officially recognized this unique role.
Right, the Walk of Fame induction, 2019.
The Philadelphia Music Alliance Walk of Fame. And think about who he's alongside there. Patti LaBelle, Hall & Oates, actual music legends.
So it cemented him, not just a great DJ, but a cultural pillar, essential to Philly's identity.
It was recognition for being indispensable, really.
Looking through everything, what's really striking is just how personally people felt connected to him. His voice was this constant, background stability in a world that keeps changing.
Oh, absolutely, which is why, when the news came, his passing in 2024 at 70.
The city just stopped. You could feel it.
A genuine collective grief. Because somehow, over all those years, he built this incredibly durable one-on-one relationship with millions of listeners. And the sources often say, his voice might be gone, but the echo, the spirit of what he stood for, peace, music, community, that definitely resonates still.
So if we step back, look at the whole 4-decade picture. What's the big takeaway? It seems like it's more than just be authentic. It's about the work of authenticity. Preparing those playlists, treating everyone like a real person, using your voice for something positive. That's what builds a legacy, not just, holding down a job.
Beautifully put. And that connects directly to the media landscape today, doesn't it? His entire success, 4 decades of it, was built on treating huge stars like friends and millions of listeners like one friend he was talking to. He was the human curator, the trusted guide.
Makes you think, right?
It really does. And it leaves us with a question for you, listening right now. If Pierre Robert's incredible, sustained success came purely from that deep human connection, that unscripted, authentic voice, can that kind of genuine human element ever really be replaced by an algorithm, even one that perfectly personalizes your music feed? Or will we always, somewhere deep down, crave that warmth, that wisdom, that connection with a real, trusted human guide?
Definitely something to chew on next time your streaming service suggests a song. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
See you next time.